Hey, welcome to Soul Tribe Huddle. It's the 24th of July 2019, and tonight we're going to be talking about mindset and emotional messages. So this is something that I learned from Tony Robbins, the man himself, from UPW that I attended, and I really love this. I actually use this myself. So when we think about, one of our biggest emotional responses that we have in this business. I mean, yeah, we're emotional, we're human beings. We're always going to have negative or emotional responses to things. But the biggest one that most of us would come across would be fear, right? Most of us would have fear at some point during this business because, it's normal. We're stepping outside of our comfort zone all the time. So something that, when we think about those negative emotions, fear, anger, sadness, frustration, overwhelm, loneliness, there's a whole lot of different negative emotions that we have. We think about them as a negative thing, right? But actually, it's a really, really good thing to switch that a little bit and look at it as a positive thing. So the way that we can see it, instead of calling it a negative emotion, is that it's an emotional message or a call to action. So it's an opportunity for us to really look at what it is that's going on and how we can change that. So how we can get the information that we need to actually change that. So instead of calling them negative emotions, we're going to call them emotional messages or calls to action. So for an example, when you think of fear, think about fear, for example. So when you're afraid of doing something, what does your body want to do when you're afraid? It wants to get into action, right? It either wants to get into fight or flight mode, or it either wants to run or it wants to fight, right? So that's what your body is, that's what you're wanting to do when you have an emotional message come up. It's like a call to action. Okay, we need to do something to change this situation. And the reason why you keep feeling that emotion, so you know how we talk about patterns, that we tend to go around and around on a mouse wheel, we keep having the same emotional messages coming up constantly, is because we're not actioning anything. So if nothing changes, everything is going to be the same. We know this. This is pretty basic stuff, that everything is going to be the same. So the pattern is going to change. So a call to action means that you have to change something. So there's two things that you can change here when you have those messages. You can either change your perception or your focus, or you can change your action. So this is either your thoughts or your actions, right? We got that? I don't know, you might want to take some notes or something with this, but it's really helpful. Hey, Hazel. Something that we have, when we think about ways that we normally deal with our emotional messages, is there's 4 different ways that we deal with them normally. So this is just our normal human selves. That is, the first thing we do is we avoid them, right? And avoiding them, a lot of the time what happens when we avoid something is we get into those addiction places, we kind of use things as a crutch, and it becomes a really unhealthy way of dealing with things. The second way that we deal with them is we endure them. So we just kind of put up with them, that we just kind of keep going, and that that's when you can get into things like depression, that kind of thing. It just kind of stays, and you end up staying in the same state the whole time. The third way that we deal with them is we compete with others to see who has the worst one. So this is actually quite entertaining, because you see this in conversations often. You often see it in conversation threads on Facebook. Or you even hear it when you get a group of people together where they're talking about this sad story, and then someone else goes, oh yeah, and I had it worse than, they start talking about, I had it worse than you, and then someone else says, oh, I had it worse than you. So it's almost like they're staying in this kind of victim space. and they keep going around and around in circles. The other way, so the fourth way that they manage their emotions is by sharing their pain. And you see this a lot on Facebook. People sharing how much pain they're in. Oh, this happened today. Or, you know, that, I don't know, we've all got that friend that constantly messages you and go, oh, I need some help, or this happened today, or, you know, I feel like shit today, or I'm really down, or, you know, or you message them and they've always got the same thing to say. So all that does is it just keeps you in exactly the same place. You've got one, have you? Sorry, who was that? I love that. Feel the fear and do it anyway. True. So this is, and so what happens is when we have a negative emotion, or, you know, what I call it a negative emotion, we're going to call it an emotional message. When we have an emotional message, we have this negative response to it because of the meaning that we have attached to it. So there's something that's happened in our past, we've attached that to the emotion, and that we've gone, so every time it comes up, we're going, oh shit, that's what happened last time, so that's how I'm going to feel every time. And so we keep creating the same thing, the same emotion attached to the same feeling every single time, and so we stay in the same place. So that's why we call it a call to action, because we've actually got to change something, make something better. So there's 6 steps to utilising your emotional messages. So this is how we can get through them, and this is really, really cool. I'm going to use one of you guys as an example. Are you putting your hand up, Kieran? Have you got a question? You can ask it. Have you got a question, honey?
What was it? It was, can you hear me?
Yeah.
What was it? 6 steps to
resolve
it?
Utilising your emotional messages.
Okay.
So the first thing we've got to do is, like, okay, so you feel something, you feel an emotion. So think about an emotion that you would feel on a regular basis. You can think about it as part of your business. You can think about it just in your general life, relationships, whatever it is. Think about it, a negative emotion or an emotional message that you would normally feel or that you would regularly feel. Now, what we've got to do is we've got to identify what that emotion is, because 9 times out of 10, that emotion that you're feeling is only the surface emotion. And so we've got to go, what am I really feeling? Ask yourself, what am I really feeling? Most of the time, it comes down to either a sense of hurt or a sense of loss. So that's really important to note there, is often that surface emotion that you're feeling, there is something else underlying it. Not always, but often. I'm actually going to go through and just talk a little bit about, I'll give you some examples. So tell me what emotion is a big emotion that you're feeling. You can put it in the chat, if you can put it in the little chat if you want, or you can unmute yourself and write it down, because I've got a little list here. I'm going to let you know what the feeling is behind it. Anxiety.
Sadness.
So depression, fear, anxiety's fear. Anything else? Anything different? Okay, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about, like, the feeling of being depressed, sad, or overwhelmed. This is often a feeling of being out of control. So you don't control something. You're completely out of control, right? Now, when we think about fear or anxiety, that is that we need to prepare for something. So we've got a feeling like we are unprepared, because it's often the unknown. We're unprepared for whatever it is, you know, because, you know, We need to feel like we know what's coming, but we often don't. And the anxiety is always about what's in the future, what we can't see in ahead of us. Procrastination, Maxine. Now, I'm just thinking, I don't have that on my list, but I'm just wondering what that would come under. It's an interesting one. I'll come back to that because maybe we can all cover that later. Frustration. So yeah, frustration is usually what I'm doing is not working. It feels like I'm not getting anywhere. I'm not getting ahead. It's not working, right? Not really myself, but anger, rage, and frustration. So anger, I mean, anger's quite big, and often, you know, I see anger as a real surface emotion, and there's often hurt underneath. But anger can also be that you have a rule that has been violated. So either someone else has violated your rule, or you have violated your own rule, and so you're angry at yourself. Do you know these angry people who often spend their life getting angry at everything? It's because they're angry at themselves because of a rule that they have violated themselves. So there's a lot others here. I will go over those later, but I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of insight into when you are asking yourself the first step, identifying what the emotion is. It's a really good way to understand what it is that you're really feeling. The other thing that we do is we use what Tony Robbins calls is TV, or transformational vocabulary. So you can put that down. You can write that down, Kieran. I can see you writing. Transformational vocabulary is very cool because it's about reducing it, making it small, softening the feeling. So when you say, I feel angry, you can say, I feel a little bit angry. Or I feel a little bit anxious. Or, you know, so it doesn't make it feel so big, because when you use that one word, it feels huge, right? It feels like it's kind of encompassing you at the time. So we just make it a lot smaller. So yeah, I feel a little bit of frustration. I feel a little bit frustrated. So it doesn't feel so bad. So the second step is to acknowledge and appreciate the emotion and the message behind it. We don't want you to share it with the world. We don't want you to suppress it. We don't want you to endure it. We don't want you to avoid it. We don't want you to feel like you're bad or you're wrong for feeling this emotion. You're human and it's totally normal. And so appreciate it and say thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to change, to make some change in my life, to create something better. So number 3, tell me if I'm going too fast. Number 3 is get curious as to what the message is. So, you know, if you've got other things going on, so like procrastination, for example, Maxine, that would be really interesting to find out what that is trying to tell you, what that message is. We could use you as an example, actually. You'd be a good example. And so what you want to do is, what is the real message trying to give you right now? What is it, the real message that this emotion is trying to give you? Number 4 is get yourself to feel reassured that you can deal with this emotion every time it comes up. And you do that by remembering a time that you have dealt with this emotion successfully in the past. Number 5 is get certain that you can handle anything like this in the future by rehearsing yourself using it. So think about a time that you have used, that you have handled it in the past really well. Think of an example. and visualize yourself going through it. Sorry, Kieran, what's up?
Sorry, can you just repeat number 5? I can't write that fast.
Get certain that you can handle anything like this in the future by remembering, by rehearsing yourself using it. So you want to turn it around. That's what you want to do, is you want to change it, turn it around so that you can, because when we think about it, your brain cannot tell the difference between fantasy or visualization and reality. So you can actually train your brain to think something completely different. You can actually start creating new neural pathways in your brain. Because if you're using those neural pathways all the time, it sets them up for a pattern that you keep going back to. And at the moment, most of it's negative. Most of it's sitting in that fear pathway, that anxiety pathway, that frustration pathway. And so we want to change it so that you are setting yourself up for a success pathway, or an abundance pathway, or a love pathway, confidence pathway. Okay, so, and what you want to do is you want to do this about 3 or 4 times, rehearse it in the moment, and after a while, this becomes absolutely natural to you. So it's like anything. Practicing it over time, doing it over time means it helps to set yourself up for a new neural pathway and a new pattern. That's healthy. Number 6, take action and change your life. I mean, the reason why you still feel bad or why you're still stuck in this emotion is because you haven't changed anything. You're not doing anything different. You're staying in the same place. And so it's making that call to action that is the only thing that's really going to help change that. So I guess what I'm going to get you guys to do now is actually do it. And what would be really cool is if one of you want to be my little guinea pig. Who wants to be my guinea pig? And I can help you all through, I can show you how to go through it. So it's actually really exciting.
Ah, fuck it. Okay, I'll do it. I don't care.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh, we've got
Sorry.
Jenna.
Hey, if nobody else wants to do it, I'm in.
On you. Jenna.
Sorry about the language.
You're on a bit early, lovely. Maxine, are you there?
Oh.
Yeah, Janet's on. Yep. Maybe if you just want to send her a message and let her know that she's probably about an hour and a half early. If she's on our trip.
Listing it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to kick her off because it might mean it'll be hard to get her back on later when we have our call. Yeah, okay. Okay, Kieran, you're awesome. You're awesome.
No, I'm crazy. It's all good.
No, you're not. You're awesome, girl. You're helping everybody. So we're going to help you through the process. So you guys can go through your own process as we're going through this with Kieran. So think about an emotion that you have that comes up for you on a regular basis. So what have you got for us, Kieran?
Let's roll with anger.
Anger?
Oh, yeah, let's roll with that one.
Really? Do you get angry?
Oh, yeah, with my mother.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so tell me, what is it that you're really feeling?
With that, well, anger and frustration at not being heard. That I feel like a 6-year-old being told off or what to do, that I'm not 48 and lived the life. And yeah, it's just not being heard by my mum.
Okay.
And it sends me into orbit, and I don't want to do it anymore because it's freaking horrible. Not
feeling heard. So do you think it's kind of like a rejection?
Yep, I would say that. It's a vile. It is an invalidation for who I am as a person, and it started when I was probably 7 or 8 years old. When you get into discussions with your parents, and I've said I need to talk away and calm down so I don't say anything I regret, and then I go into my room and I get followed. So yeah, it's a complete invalidation for who I am, and I'm 48 and obviously we're still dealing with it.
You don't feel valued?
No.
Okay. So do you think that comes back to a feeling of not being loved?
Oh, absolutely. And I'll apologise now if I cry, because this is a big one.
Okay, honey, that's okay. You're all surrounded by friends. So tell me, which one do you think is bigger for you? Which is the biggest emotion? Which is the deepest emotion?
Not being loved.
Okay, so then what I want you to do is I want you to make it smaller. I want you to soften it, okay, so it's not so huge. Look at all this love you've got here. It's just a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just a little feeling of not, yeah. Right, how are you going to make that smaller?
Mama loves me in her own way. It may not be the way that I need it to be shown, but she does love me.
So it doesn't feel so safe now?
It's going to take some time. I've had a lot of practice. Sorry, guys.
Oh, you've got so much love from everybody. They all want you to You're just so brave right now. Thank you for sharing.
Right, I'm going to work on that one.
Okay, so now just get curious as to what the message is. What is the real message this emotion is trying to give me? And it sounds to me like you've pretty much said it, right?
Yeah.
You've said it. That you don't feel loved by your mum.
No.
Okay.
Not, yeah, like I said, not in the way that I need to feel it. Do you know what I mean? But I don't think she's capable of that. So, I got this.
You've got this, honey. So now I want you to feel reassured that you can deal with this emotion. When have you dealt with this before successfully?
Successfully dealt with it?
Yeah.
Probably about 2 months ago.
2 months ago. Great.
Yeah.
What did you do?
I looked at my mother and I said, I'm not going to apologise for who I am. I am who I am, and I'm sorry if you can't see that, and I need to walk away right now. So I walked away.
Did you feel good?
Oh, yeah, so freaking powerful. It's not funny.
Great. Good on you. Well done. So I want you to rehearse that, because you've got to be certain that every time this comes up for you, you can deal with it again. So I want you to close your eyes and rehearse that going through your mind when it comes up in the future, that you are going to deal with that. I'm just going to mute Maxine because she's making so much noise.
Sounds like she's making aioli.
She's eating something.
Okay, what am I doing? Rehearsing. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay, you right?
I got this. Yeah, I got it.
So think about 3 or 4 times that you have dealt with this.
Yeah.
So that you know you've always got to go to when this emotion comes up again. So when this message comes up again, that you know that you can play those situations through your mind. And so doing it about 3 or 4 times, have different scenarios so that you know that you can deal with this.
Okay.
So what action are you going to take to change your life?
I'm just going to rock the tranquility, know that I'm loved. Thank you all. And love my mama for who she is. And I guess, what do they call it? Detach with love. Mum loves, she loves me. I know she does. I get it. Like I said, it's just not the way I need to see it. And I have to recognize that as well. So I'll keep you posted.
You're amazing, girl. I think
Oh.
I love you, sassy pants, says Maxine. It's gorgeous. I think if you know, something that's really helped me around this is actually realizing that I don't need my family to give me the love and validation that I think that I used to need. That I can actually do this without them. And the only way that you can do this is prove to yourself that you are successful, that you are loved by other people, because you've got to feel it in here.
Yeah.
No good other people telling you how amazing you are. You've got to go, okay, I believe that. I know I'm amazing and I know I'm lovable.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, honey. You're amazing.
Thanks for allowing me to be vulnerable.
Brave, Kath. Very brave. Thank you. Who else would like to share? Anyone else for another example? A different example? Maybe we could do procrastination, Maxine. That might be a good one. She's procrastinating about coming on.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you. That's actually a really, really good one. So tell us about what the real feeling is around procrastination.
Yeah, I wonder if it's what he's touching on in the Big Leap, you know, where you kind of, it's kind of in the same ballpark as self-sabotage, really, isn't it? I mean, it is self-sabotage, isn't it?
Which is fear.
Yeah, so I mean, there are things I know that I could be doing, and I'm not doing them. I'm doing a lot of things. I am doing stuff, but yeah, and I'm letting a lot of things sort of get in the way. I feel like I need to clone myself at the moment. That's the trouble.
Well, it does sound to me like when you're self-sabotaging, it's because of fear, because you're afraid of something. Does that feel right?
Yeah, yes.
So what do you think you're afraid of?
I think one of my fears is that the whole thing's going to get really busy and lots of hard work.
Okay.
And I fundamentally want to be fairly lazy, so that there's probably fear there.
Yeah. Okay. So there's a fear that there's going to be way too much work for you.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So then make it a bit smaller. How are you going to make it smaller? There's a little bit of fear.
There's a little bit of fear.
Yeah, there's a little bit of fear. So, you know, it instantly feels not so big and overwhelming, right?
Yeah.
When you say it like that? Okay.
Yeah, no, it's a good technique, isn't it? That's good.
It's great. So then appreciating and acknowledging that what this message it's come to you, saying thank you for it, you know, creating that real grateful moment instead of, because often what we do is we feel like we're really bad and we're wrong by feeling like this. So it's making sure that we appreciate it. We might not want it any longer because it doesn't profit us, but we still need to appreciate that it's come up for us so that we have the opportunity to change that. Now get curious as to what the real message is trying to give you. So what do you think it's trying to tell you?
Oh, I don't know. I just feel like Yeah, I'm afraid of getting into a situation where I'm going to take too much on, because that's what I've always done. I've always taken too much on, and then I've exhausted myself. So I think obviously, yeah, I think that's something there.
Okay. So what do you think it's trying to tell you in terms of change?
Yeah, because one of the things I find is that I actually feel tired. Quite often I'll think about stuff I have to do and I immediately feel tired. So I feel like there's a whole dynamic going around with me that I'm too tired.
So when you think, because at the moment it's not profiting you, right? It's not working for you. It's not, is it? It's not actually working in terms of getting you ahead any further.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's a block. Yeah.
So why does it keep coming up then? What is the message trying to tell you in terms of being able to move forward?
The message being that that I'm worried about taking on too much.
That's the current situation. Think about what the message is trying to say to help you get into action.
Well, I mean, to me, there's really no evidence for what I'm feeling, because I actually am managing everything fine. So it's definitely an irrational fear, because I'm, and I could probably manage another 20 team and I'd be fine, So, yeah.
But like, it's still keeping you in your safe zone, right?
Yeah.
It's stopping you from getting any further forward.
Yeah.
So it's still keeping you in the same place. So it's not changing anything for you. That's what I mean. So I guess really what my feeling is around that feeling, what the message is for you to actually change what it is that you're doing right now, because it's not giving you the action that you want, right? It's not giving you the results that you want.
Yeah.
So think about a situation where you have dealt with this in the past successfully and got past it. I can understand if you can't think of one, because when this was introduced to me, I was like, but I haven't dealt with this in the past. It was actually really hard to think about. So if it's really hard to think about, it's okay, but it just makes you really dig deep.
Well, and I think it's true what they say, that getting into action gets you out of fear. Because when I do get into action, I realise it's not actually that hard, and that I'm just being a crybaby, really, because it's not actually all that hard.
So you can think about such times where you have felt that procrastination, you've felt that fear, and you've gone, oh, I'm just going to do it anyway. And it actually has been really good. So it hasn't felt that bad. So think of those. Every time you get into that procrastination stage, think about and remember those feelings, knowing that you are 100% certain that you're going to get through it every time.
Yeah.
So what is it that you need to do then? What action do you need to take?
I just think I probably just need to, it's just time wasting, really. Just being more focused and not wasting time.
So how do you think you're going to do that?
I don't know, because I'm not very good at just having a ritual where I just do, I don't know. I feel like I need to be more structured, but I'm not very good at structure.
Okay, so maybe you can start small with the structure then, Max.
I just rebel whenever I'm put into some kind of a structure.
So you get into procrastination mode.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're going around in circles, and even when you know what that message is and you know what the message is telling you, you still go around. You still procrastinate about it. So you're procrastinating about getting into action even when you know that you're not getting into action.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, tell me, for any of you guys who are watching, who would like to share something helpful that could help Maxine here?
I think the nursing trade is exactly the same. Stick around. I make lists. I never complete them.
Yeah.
And around in circles. I write things on my list that I've already done so that I've got the satisfaction of crossing things off. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's a nursing thing.
Thank you for your 2 cents worth, Karen. That's really good, and it's actually brought me onto something I've just thought about. So don't write lists, guys. Lists are not cool because lists are boring, and you don't want to do them. What we need to do is we need to write down. We need to make it give it an emotional attachment. So it's not the actual thing, it's more about the emotional attachment that you want to be focusing on. Say, for example, I know that Kira does this, and I think Linda even does this, where she has chunks of her day that she's got just for family time, or she's got her time, or she's got business time. And so she will chuck out chunks of those of her day where this is the only thing she's doing in this time. And so instead of writing a to-do list that never gets done, she puts the things in like that she needs to do in her business time that's actually going to create results. So she writes the result down rather than the list. Say, for example, on her business time, say if she wants to connect with one of her team members, she'll write that down. Connect with one of my team members. And then it feels good because it feels like she's doing something. Something that she loves. You know what I mean? So you could try that instead. Would that work, Max?
So rather than writing it as a list, you're just writing down these are the results
that you want in this time frame. So when you think about your business, write down what the results that you want for the day.
Yeah.
And even if you don't get those results in that day, that's okay. And then just think about, so what do I need to do to get those results today? Say, for example, you might say, oh, I'd like to get a new customer today. Or write that down. And then do whatever you need to do to get the new customer. So you're not actually writing a list.
Right.
Or, you know, I want to create a beautiful Canva thing for my post today. Right. And that's not actually a to-do list. That's actually something that you enjoy doing. It's a result that you want. I don't know the way she put it was way better, but, and, you know, and so I think that, I mean, for me, that whole chunking out time in my day, I find quite difficult to do when I'm working from home. I understand that. You have to be really disciplined and make sure you stick to it. But for example, if you make an appointment with somebody, if you say, right, I'm going to go out and have coffee with this person at this time on this day, you're going to put that in your diary and you're going to chunk out an amount of time in your diary to go, I've got this much time to spend with them. So you'd do that if you were going out. You'd do that if you were going to work. So we need to start doing that in our day when we're at home, because it's the only way that you're going to find that time for yourself, for your family. Say, you know, you want to go out and have a coffee or a lunch date with Harriet, Max. You put that in your diary. You block that time. This is my family time. So start doing that. And then, like, if you've got 2 hours for your business in the day, then you make sure in that 2 hours you do those things that you really want to get done. And don't write them in a way where the list is really mundane and boring.
Right.
DMO. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, Linda colour codes them. Yeah, she does. That's a really nice way of doing it. So she puts her colour in for her time frame.
Well, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think green's her family time and pink's her me time and yeah, orange is her business time. So you can do that. And then you actually feel more productive in the day, but you also make sure you get in the time that you need to for yourself, even if it's only half an hour for yourself. Yeah. Don't be a nurse, Hazel. Does Hazel want to be a nurse?
No.
Okay.
Just saying maybe she should be because she can relate to what me and Kieran are saying.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean there's just some ideas there, but I mean if anybody's got any questions around their own stuff, sing out now, come off mute, let me know so I can help you with anything. I just find so I used this myself when I came back from UPW and I found it was really, really helpful. And, you know, that whole getting into action thing, we talk about the best way to get out of fear is to actually get into action. Yes, it absolutely is. So this is just, I mean, this feels like a really long process and it is when you first start, but it becomes really easy and you can do it in just a few seconds once you've been doing it for a while. So all you really need to know is that you're changing that emotion in the moment and getting into and doing something that's going to step you out of that emotion, out of that message, and do something that's going to make you feel really good. It might be terrifying, like jumping on a live for the first time. It might be really, really scary, but it's the best thing you can do. And it's like that changing neural pathways after a while when you're doing them regularly, it actually becomes really easy. And yes, it freaking works. Yes, it does. So you're welcome, Kath. So any questions around that, guys? So I don't want to hold you up any longer if we don't have any. No, I love all that love you got, Kieran. See, everybody loves you. You're so beautiful. You are so welcome, Kieran. So I just want to say what an amazing team we have. You guys are awesome. You really are. I love how much you love on each other. It's so nice. It's just really beautiful. So, and I'm really grateful for you all. Thank you for being in my life. Just saying.
No.
And I can't wait for Sunday. Oh, it's such a shame you're on the other side of the world, Kath. And Kieran's up in Auckland and Sarah's in Nelson. And yeah, are you, Tammy and Gail, are you coming? Hazel, are you coming on Sunday? Oh, thanks, Hazel. Love you too, beautiful. You're awesome. You'll be in the Hawke's Bay, Hazel. Okay.
I can't come either, unfortunately.
Who's that? Oh, Gail, you can't come.
No. We're completely buggered for the weekend, so unfortunately the next 2 weekends.
Oh, so you can't come for Kapiti event next weekend either?
No.
Oh, so you guys know about my party next weekend, I hope you're all coming in your 70s gear.
I joined you. Sorry, Dania.
Oh, Gail, you're going to let me down.
I know, I was so disappointed, but yeah, we're just not going to be able to make it.
Damn. Hope you're coming, Tammy. Hazel. Tammy's not even there. She's not even there. She's like got her camera off and mute off and she's gone. She's not even listening to me. Okay, lovelies. Well, even though I love hanging out with you and I could like hang out here all night, I won't because I know your time is important. So I'll let you all go.
Okay.
Thanks so much. It's nice to see you all. Bye.
Bye. Bye.